In this video, it is the VRD Stance ready to run from Vanquish. A lot of folks really seem to love this crawler as potentially one of the best that you can buy, money no object, from a ready to run crawler out there. So I had to pick it up and give it a shot. We're going to get it out of the box. We're going to go over a lot of the features in it, and then we're going to get it out there and give it a test drive. Here we have the truck itself. We're going to get in more into this one later, but we have it in the box. We have a controller, nice pistol grip, foam on the steering wheel, should do just right for us. Provides the batteries for that controller, standard T-wrench, couple little additional optional plastic parts in the kit, user manual for the ESC itself, user manual for that controller, alternate stickers, and then the core user manual. Pretty thin overall manual, but it does give you a little bit of, before you use, what water resistance it has, gear ratio charts, spare parts, and then the all-important exploded diagram so that if you do need to do anything to the truck, you can have some idea of how it goes together. Truck overall looks quite aggressive. It has the pinched, narrowed in body, large tires. They say they're 4.75, but man, they sure do seem like they're taller than that. Really sticky. When you get onto the tire here with your hand, you can really feel how sticky it is. You can also feel outside of this plastic bead lock, there's a dual stage foam in here. You can actually feel how stiff it is right here in the inner piece. And then when it gets out here to the outside, it is a much softer foam. Narrowed in, tucked in bumpers, both front and on the rear side, so you're going to not have to worry about any kind of overhangs, clearance, anything along those lines. Rear overhang is actually negative, so you can have more than 90 degrees of clearance. Same thing on the front. Front tires actually stick past the front bumper, so that means, no issues of shrouding of the tires or anything. You're going to be able to get tire on any obstacle that you see with this truck. Underneath that body is where all the magic happens. Nice oil-filled shocks with super soft springs on all four corners. You can always love it when the truck sits down in that suspension. You know it's tuned just right. These come with the F10 portal axles from Vanquish, along with steel inserts already out here on the edge in order to gain a little bit of extra front axle weight, plus brass insert tubes inside the axle. So it already has a lot of that trick stuff that you would want on your crawler right out of the box. Servo is on axle. This is personal preference for a lot of folks, whether you want it chassis mounted or whether you want it axle mounted. Putting that servo on the axle is going to give you a little bit more additional front weight on that axle versus up here on the chassis, but also loses you some scale points depending on what you're trying to do with your crawler. One of the real trick things with this truck is this transfer case transmission here in the middle, motor mounted way up here to where the slipper and spur and pinion gear are. Shaft comes back, but then that means that this motor is really far forward and very far down. And since the motor is typically one of the heavier things that you're going to have in your crawler, having it that far down and that far forward is key. We have little small metal sliders, very raised up out of the way. You can see clearance off the bottom of the chassis. Definitely provides a lot of clearance there, so you're not getting hung up on the rocks. Ability to put a battery in either side if you want to. They do make a kit version of this truck that comes with a carbon fiber chassis. This ready to run does come with this stamped steel. So it is a little bit heavier, but I think it's the same geometry. So you do still have all of that along with different shock mounting holes, both front and rear, and opportunity to mount the suspension links in different places. Inside this transmission is an included already 6% overdrive, full metal gears, full bearings, all supported by strong plates. So really durable transmission, already giving you some overdrive just in that alone. But the magic also happens really when we start flipping this truck over. So again, we already mentioned the portal axles, but one of the things with these Vanquish axles is the steering angle. They've figured out a way to make a durable drive shaft that can also do just some pretty insane steering angle here. Probably one of the best steering angles out of a ready to run that you could possibly buy. There's some little details down here that at the end of the day really matters. With the differential here, what you'll notice both front and rear is that the drive shaft actually comes in very high on that pumpkin. It doesn't come in the center. It actually comes in offset up to the top. That takes some extra engineering, that takes some extra ingenuity in order to get that to work right. But what it does is it creates a whole bunch of extra clearance down here compared to maybe where that drive shaft would otherwise be. Gets that little bit extra clearance for you so that you don't hit rocks or anything along those lines. The other piece is in this rear portal gear, it actually has some additional underdrive already built in from the factory. So yes, the 6% in the transmission, but when you put it all together, 24% already in the truck straight out of the box. But the one negative to this truck that everybody points out very quickly is on this ready to run model, you have some very thin, small links. What that means on this ready to run with these already being pre-bent is that they are a little bit weak. A lot of folks have bent these or broken these with any kind of crashes that they have out on the trail. And so frequently you see folks talking about if minimum, if only just these lower links front and rear, upgrading those or upgrading all 8 of the links in order to get some extra strength. And yes, I did say 8 links, so unlike a lot of the other ready-to-run crawlers out there on the market that are a 3-link setup with a panhard bar, this is a full formal 4-link setup on the front, which should be about as good as you can get. It's kind of best in class, best performance that you're going to get is out of that 4-link, so it's awesome that they do provide that. If you're not familiar with this style controller, it can be a little confusing. You got to click that button in, get this bottom piece off, then that flips up. You have an insignia here for minus and positive up here at the top. So that means back batteries go this way, front batteries go that way. If you do need to on this controller, you can press this select button. You can get into up to, I believe it's 15 models that this one controller will bind to, which is nice. You can reverse your steering and throttle and all that. You can set different endpoints, exponentials, do some trims. SVC is the gyro function, which is turned off in this receiver. You don't use it. And then dual rate. You can then come in and name your channel. This one's set up as channel 1 from the default. But if you don't want to do that, then you just have the voltage up at the top and you are ready to go. To run my crawlers on 3S, and I have this Ovonic, it's a 2200 milliamp. It does really, really well for me. Already has the XT60 on it, which matches the truck. I can provide a link to this down in the video description. You can choose either side here that you want to strap it into, but I will note one of the things with these metal sliders is sometimes your batteries, if you take a hit, will want to slide in or out on you, so you might want to watch that. Sometimes I will put as a tip, I'll put some like adhesive rubber or something down on the bottom of these skid plates, and that helps those batteries stay in just a little bit stronger. If you are going to run a LiPo battery, then you do need to change this jumper over here on the ESC. It's currently from the factory in the nickel metal mode. You just need to move it over one set of pins and then it'll be in LiPo mode. Let me take a quick pause here and say thank you for joining this video. If you're new, welcome. My name is Troy and this is Roadside RC. You tend to find me bashing or crawling or drifting or racing, plus doing product review videos and how-tos. And you're probably tired of me talking and yammering on the workbench about this truck. Let's get a battery in it and go give it a test drive. Oh, we have power. We have forward and reverse. Let's go do it. right, midpoint check here with the truck. It's doing as exactly as you would expect for a $500 ready to run crawler. It's doing really well. I mean, it goes over everything. Steering angle is great. I could get around some of the tighter stuff that I maybe sometimes couldn't get around. Easy to see that you could get around it with that extra steering angle that this axle does have. Throttle modulation and everything from the brushed ESC and that factory controller is good. Clearly, as you already see on the forums and all that, a lot of people are going to upgrade this to brushless. Outrunner, regular in-runner brushless setup is going to feel better. For my liking, this truck is under-geared. It doesn't quite have as much wheel speed as I would like to help bump up and over some obstacles, and doing a brushless swap will probably fix that depending on what KV you go with and things like that. Tires have been very impressive so far, no issues whatsoever. Suspension has been great, clearance is good. I mean, the truck kind of looks monster truckish, right? Because of how much the body's cut up and everything, it makes it look like it's just sitting way up in the air. It really isn't though, especially with all that front weight and how down low some of that weight is. It really does quite well, and kind of acts like it's lower to the ground than it looks like it is. We're gonna now take it out to the front rock wall and see how it does out there. Alright, so here it is. This is the part that we refer to as the impossible wall, but we just had the Ascent Fusion go straight up it the other day. Will the Stance do it? There it goes. Back from the test drive, let me know. Go down in the video comments, let me know, how do you think it did? If you watch the channel, you've seen a lot of other crawlers go over those same obstacles. Let me know, what do you think down there? For me, there's a couple key points with this crawler. One, the performance out of the box is right up there with the best of the best that are out there available right now in a ready-to-run crawler. More to come on that in a future video. Stay tuned if you're curious to see me put this head-to-head versus the likes of the Element Ecto, the Red Cat Ascent Fusion. Hit that subscribe button. Videos coming soon on that, so stay tuned. Second item is it's going to be very hard for a lot of people to get over the price point. At $4.99, this is one of the more expensive ready-to-run crawlers that I would recommend that you purchase out there today. Yes, there are some more expensive ones from Traxxas and Axial that are more scale, but if you take the scale out of it and you look at like just pure performance, it's competition like I just mentioned. The Red Cat Ascent Fusion, $100 cheaper. Element Ecto, $100 cheaper. Like it's just difficult. At the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of folks that are not going to want to come off that extra $100. And for I think like the 90% of folks out there, that's actually fine. I think this crawler and those others, the Ecto and the Red Cat Ascent Fusion, they all have enough performance that for most folks who like to do trails or like to do just some like moderate crawling, it'll do everything you want. I've had many people that have come over and not been able to complete my here home crawler course with plenty of other stock and or modified vehicles. This one can just monster truck over all of it without an issue. So for I think a lot of folks, it's gonna be enough, and so are some of those other ones. Is the $100 price point worth it? That's really a good question. I think where that comes in is how serious do you really want to get? You can kind of tell just by some of the engineering and the design that goes into this Vanquish that the performance ceiling's pretty high. There's some other modifications that you can do to it. They offer a stubby motor conversion kit. There's some additional brass you can do to it. There's some other stuff like that's possible that Vanquish offers for this truck. And I can really see how doing some of those things may just continue to take this truck to another level and really make it just that dramatically much better. Maybe the performance ceiling for this truck is potentially just that little bit higher than some of the other ones that are out there on the market. Time will tell. But if you kind of want like the Rolex, if you kind of want the Bentley or the Bugatti of RC crawlers, you can really tell the design and the engineering that goes into this Vanquish, so you kind of understand maybe why there's all those Vanquish fanboys out there that are all like Vanquish or nothing. Like, y'all probably need to calm it down just a little bit, but at the end of the day, this thing really is quite that good. So on that bombshell, we're going to end this here today. More videos on this coming, so if you are curious, stay connected to me down there. I'll have links to this plus that battery and everything in the video description. Any questions or comments you have, please leave them down in the comments section, and there'll be a playlist of other vehicle reviews that'll be popping up over here to your right and other crawler stuff. So check me out over there, and I hope to see you in one of those videos. Thank you, and goodbye.